Well, hello everybody. Happy Saturday. Changing it up, doing something different this week. Again, had a crazy week. I got a lot going on with my Quantum Flight group, but had a great question from them. And so I wanted to use that for this week's live so that everybody benefits from it. And as you can see, I'm not in my studio. I'm out in my garden. You can see my beehive. They're active and really busy today, trying to see what else they can gather before it gets too cold. Learned that if it's over 50 degrees, they will be out and about. So that behind them, you can see that fun, colorful chair. That's where I sit in the summer or in the warm weather with my morning, whether it's tea or coffee or juice, whatever, smoothie, whatever I'm having, sit and just commune with them because they're amazing beings. So I am out in the garden today because I'm about to harvest all of my carrots and store them. I'm super excited about that. I'm an avid gardener, as you can tell with my bees. And I don't usually ever come on Saturdays, but thought, you know what, a perfect time. It's was a great question, and I didn't get around to it this week, and I just was feeling in the flow. So here we are. This is how we're living now, in the flow. And so here I am on a Saturday, and I know with many of you out and about doing things, should be still a good time zone for Europe or parts of Australia just waking up. This is close to the time I do my classes with my group because it stretches those all the way from Australia to Zimbabwe actually this year. So the question that I want to just go into for a nice short chat together today is what happens with our loved ones that are they're staying in 3D and we're moving into 5D. And that concern, you know, there's a lot of people that are moving towards that 5D expansion and they don't quite understand it or what it's going to look like. You know, a lot of us have been wondering all along, what's it going to look like, you know, especially for the physical reality of our light body merging with our physical, cellular, biological body and how that moves into a silica or crystalline structure. And those processes are starting. So I think to dive into this question, the first thing we got to look at is what actually is that shift to 5D? Because for a long time, I think many of us in the early parts of the journey were thinking that it might be, you know, I remember seeing lots of things 20 years ago about, Planet X, there's another Earth, we're going to all move to that Earth, this and that. And as I get further along in the process and remember a lot more about how the universal principles work, about dimensional planes, how they interconnect, where they overlay, how even within Gaia, there's all these dimensional spheres that are not currently in connection to surface Earth, not to the 3D realm, but they are interconnected within each other to a degree. And so looking at what does it really mean to move into 5D? What does our ascension process really involve? And my experience and remembrance of it, because many of you, like myself, have been in other systems where we've gone through an ascension process. We've helped systems go through it before. It's why we're here as light workers to assist in this one, because we know, like, we're coded. We genetically and soul level in our configuration know and remember how to do this. So even though we feel like, I've forgotten all that. That's just consciously. You know, as you keep waking up to yourself, you do know how to do that. And so you'll remember what this really entails. So when we shift to 5D, it's really about a perspective shift. It is a movement from a way of being with all our limitations, boxes, beliefs, the hologram that we exist within, and shifting all of that out to where we are truly aligned with the fullness of ourself, who we be, and are living in alignment with all that is in that way. And so as I keep moving into that vibrational field, the fifth dimensional sphere is just a higher vibrational field. So knowing that your guides and guardians, that whether you have dragons or not, this isn't just about a dragon discussion, your angelic guides, all of the masters that you may have encountered, star beings, they're from a different dimensional plane, right? So you've been interfacing with them for some time. If you are a channel, if you've meditated and had guidance from any of them, had them present, just like the dragons. They're from a higher dimensional realm. They come around us. They communicate with us. So we know that they're there. but they're not all the way down in 3D density matter. So if we move into fifth dimensional density, it's really going to be similar, but we're going to keep that interface where we're still interacting with 3D. How is that going to look for them from 3D towards us? I'll be honest, I don't know for sure, but I don't believe the barrier, because we're keeping our bodies. This is what the shift is that we've not accomplished before here with all those that have gone before. So all those masters that were on earth at some point, they let go of their body. Even the Buddhist monks that did rainbow body ascensions, they left their body behind. So we interface with them in their higher dimensional plane through their energy body, through their full soul level signature that we are in contact with. But we're on the journey to actually keep and maintain our physical body with us. It's going to look different. It's moving from carbon to silica. But that shift is keeping us present in this sphere where we can be guides and guardians, and we will still be around those in 3D that will have an effect on them, that even if they're not ready to, and there are those that will probably perceive you as invisible. You will be invisible to them. I've noticed that in my sphere of connection in the community at large, unless I choose to be real visible, I don't often get noticed or can enter a place and just be like background. And what that tells me is that, think about, well, first thing about this, your vibration is raising continually. You're getting in touch with your full self. You start living in that alignment. It really changes the dynamic of everything. So it changes everyone in your sphere. So whether they want to go there or not, those beings, and many people have sort of perceived that if you're on a spiritual path, you're going towards that ascension. So they're going to rule out, well, if you're not on a spiritual path, then you're not. Well, that's not true, because we're opening the gates into the fifth dimensional realm, and every different dimensional realm is based on levels of love in your being and levels of love or vibration. So there are many, many beings out there that aren't necessarily on a spiritual path, a religious path, anything like that, but they are really beautiful souls. They have a lot of love in their heart. They have a lot of love in their being. They ethically, morally, everything else, make the right choices. They are just there as a beautiful presence, reflecting that energy of Mother, Father, God, Creator, Source, Divinity through them. So they're already matched, starting to move into that vibration. So those gates, that dimensional platform will be available to them, especially as they start raising their consciousness and remembering the greater levels of who they be. But you're going to find that you're more and more drawn, because your magnetic field, as you increase that vibration, is constantly drawing to it that match. And so you're going to have a different community build around you. Does it mean there's loved ones in your life that might drift away? Absolutely. They're not able to, or they're not comfortable in that zone of vibration where you sit. And you might notice it first with family, or some of your closer friends, or people that you've had a long time connection with. It just starts breaking. It just starts melting away naturally, and it's not something you do or disengage. You're always present with them, sending and holding that great loving space. That's especially what the dragons do. You know, our great gift as dragons is that ability to just hold that unconditional presence and be there as that bedrock of divinity, of that unconditional acceptance. And as you hold that, and that magnetic law of attraction shifts, everyone in your sphere is either going to be vibrating in that, or has a soul level desire to keep moving towards that. So you might be married to someone that has nothing to do with your spiritual path. They're like, you know what, you're into dragons, or you're into angels, or starbees. That's good. Do your thing. I'm not ready for that. Or I'm just going to be here. But the fact that they're with you shows already a soul level intention or a contract between you to keep going, whatever their pace is. So they're not going to disappear out of your life, but you might notice that they start opening with certain questions, or they might just start brightening from their own way of receiving and expressing that. But there will indeed be others who are uncomfortable in the higher vibration on a soul level. They're choosing to stay focused on a 3D polarized experience. And that's absolutely their right. That's what our free will universe is about. And so letting them do that, but always being present to just be there and hold that energetic vibration for when they want to. That's exactly what our guides have done for us. and they've been gently and lovingly waiting there for however many lifetimes with us to get to that readiness point. And many of us will become the guides of the future for those that are still here embodying and experiencing 3D and want to move forward. So I don't feel like it's I know it's a big thing on some people's hearts of, well, what's going to happen to my kids or my animals or my spouses or my family or my parents, and just love them knowing that there is no division or separation in that field of love, and let it be in flow of you continuing forward and watching how it shifts very gently, very lovingly in a different direction. And it's very interesting in my own family dynamic to have come to a place of having healed all of the pieces that I was brought back into really direct contact with them, living in the same city now for a lot of years, to complete those contracts, and knowing, yeah, they're mostly 3D, but they're beautiful people, and they're moving in the direction their soul needs to. And if they ever have questions for that, I'm there for that. It doesn't mean I love them any less. It doesn't mean I need to force anything down their throat. Your perspective just keeps shifting on the role that you hold for all those people in your life, and you keep moving into flow into what brings you joy in every moment. And as you do that, the beauty is that they start to see that, and if they're uncomfortable, they're going to drift a little further away. If they're intrigued and drawn to that kind of joy, that kind of life expression in wonder and magic, and an unfolding of like constantly being in your heart desire, then they'll move gently towards you and walk that path with you. So I love the question because it's on a lot of hearts out there these days. And so I felt like even though it's not directly dragon related, it fits to bring in here today. So I am in my passion and joy. One, talking to you guys is really fun to come on a Saturday. And two, to be outside. It's gorgeous. I've got a little vest on, but I get to work in my garden and I can hear and feel my bees behind me. So I'm going to sit here and dig carrots and get them stored. I've not had such a huge crop before that I need to store for the winter, except when I lived out in Wyoming and I was able to store vegetables. I had a huge freezer. I've always dreamed of having a root cellar. Someday I'll live where I have a root cellar. But for now, I'm learning how to do it in Reno in a cool garage. So hoping that it works. And I've also got some beets apparently that I need to dig up. And I just pulled, what's super exciting is when my garden surprises me and gives me the ongoing aspect. Carrots don't flower until their second year, I learned. And I had one that got away last year. I never pulled it. It's on the very edge of the garden. I don't know why or how, but it has gone to flower. So I also just picked a beautiful big rosette. They're about this big, beautiful lacy flowers that had gone to seed. So next year's crop is all set. Pretty exciting. Have a beautiful weekend. It was great to be with all you guys here on a Saturday, and I'll look for you sometime next week. Bye for now.